Hey there, and welcome to another Vodacom Diski Chat. So with me, Thabiso Tema. It's good to have you along with us. As you can see, we're out of the studio today, trying to do things a little differently and get a little bit of fresh air. And I tell you what, the sun is out. It feels like summer already. So why? What do we do, Lucas? Go to the car wash. And so I've brought two of the legends of the game here. Let's introduce them in order of age, shall we? The Terminator, Dikgang Mabalne is there. And Lebogang Manyama is also with us. Good to have you guys.
Good to be here. Good to be here. Tea as usual. Yeah, man. We can't wait. We can't wait. Already the season has kicked off on a bang.
Yeah. Listen, I know where you've been. I know what you've been up to. But the recently joined the ranks of the retired is Lebogang Manyama.
Retired?
Yeah, man. How's it been being out of the game? Well, at least from a playing point of view.
Hi, Bratty. Hotman Temi. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, one day at a time, you know. Obviously, sad to be not continuing doing what I love. But yeah, I mean, I always believe God puts you where He wants you to be. And it's not the end of a life, it's the end of a journey. So, I mean, life is, for me, it's limitless. There's so many things I could do. I've been waiting for your call as I'm here right now. so I'm glad you finally called me. But yeah, I mean, it's been that. But obviously, still involved in football. I don't think I'll ever leave it. But yeah, that's a story for another day.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing more about all that you are up to. But thankfully, we're glad to hear still involved with the game. Gentlemen, like as I said, I mean, this season has been hectic. I mean, there has not been any time to settle down. The games have come thick and fast. We've got a very tight program. We've got a Nations Cup coming, so it means there's more games to be played. Let me just get just a general reflection of what you've seen. Have things gone according to what you expect in terms of the form book, the teams that you expect to see at the top? Is it as you thought it would be, and also at the bottom?
To be honest, it never does. It never goes according to what you expect. And I think that's the good thing about the league, about competition. New teams as well, coming to the top flight. I mean, Polokwane City, six points, 2 games they've won already. It's a surprise. Richards Bay right at the bottom, whereas last season they started on the front foot. So yeah, man, surprises. But the one surprise, not a surprise. It's the top of the log, Sundowns. 100%. I mean,
a very familiar picture there again, and which in itself somehow you might even say that's a little bit different because Sundowns they don't start well. I don't know, they're notorious slow starters, but can't say that this season they're not even playing their best, but already 4 out of 4.
Yeah, look, I mean, Bratty, as Bratemi said, no difference at the top, but I think as I've known Sundowns throughout my career, they don't really start well because obviously the one team that finishes the season after everybody. So I think they probably have a shorter period to rest usually in the years, and now they had a longer one because obviously they got out in the CAF last year very early and finished the league. So I think they've had a break that they haven't had in a long time, and you can really see that they're really refreshed, and obviously with the new signings that they have also, you can see that they mean business, and they're now sending a clear message from the start that we're there. But yeah, I mean, I've seen Pirates a huge improvement. What I like the most about the Pirates part is also the coaching. They went from a 3-5-2, I think, last season, or a 5-3-2. Now they're going into a 4-3-3. So you can really see that the coaching is of a high level. For a team it's not easy. Pratemi will tell you to change your formation when you play for Pirates or Chiefs.
Which I think it suits them best. The 4 at the back has always been the best for them. But
so I think they will try to push Sundowns. Obviously, Chiefs will always be there. Super Sport with Kevin Hunt, always competitive. Cape Town City are always within the mix with the brand of football they play and how they so difficult in Cape Town, obviously. So yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed start, I think, everywhere in the world, as you see. But yeah, that's the beauty of football, like Bratemi said.
And what does that do, the hectic schedule that a team like Pirates and Sundowns, because of their commitments with CAF club competitions, have had to push a lot more matches? 8 games, I think, that Pirates played in August, and same for Sundowns. What does that do? I mean, even from a player point of view, is that something that you want more regular games? Does that help you settle down? Or does it put the pressure on, especially if you don't settle down quickly enough?
I think for to start with, for Sundowns, well, the top, tier teams, your Sundowns, Chiefs, Pirates, I think that is expected. They should expect to play more games, more competition, and personally, as a player, I wanted to play all the time. I want to play all the time. I think, for me, that's the excitement. That's what gets me going. I don't know about most players, but I think as a player, you should want to play. It's competition. But having said that, yes, physically, unfortunately, it does sometimes affect players, especially the traveling. It's the logistic more than anything that affects. But playing, I want to play all the time. So you need to manage all of that. Manage, I mean, the squad that you have, of course, the playing personnel. From that aspect, you need to obviously get it right. Sundowns have got it right. Pirates also, I think they're doing the right thing in terms of acquiring more quality, more players, more competition to compete outside of just the domestic league. So in that regard, I think those are things that you need to just keep note of.
Lebza, what about your former club, Kaizer Chiefs? They're the only one of, if we talk about the top 6 that are starting the season with a new coach. Well, you say new coach because he's been somebody who's been involved in the system. I don't know to what extent he was involved as the technical director, how much he got involved when it comes to match day and all of that. What have you seen from what you have seen from a continuity point of view? Is there something that you have noticed that are missed there?
Look, obviously, to be quite honest, I think they did a bit of good business in the transfer window, with Msimango, who I rate very highly. I think he's one of the best centre backs in this country. The guy from SuperSport, the left foot, is also very, very solid. So they've tried Castillo in the middle. They've tried to sort out, I think, the spine, just to be strong in it. But it's gonna take time. I think you need to be patient with also Coach Mulefe. Give him time to implement what he wants to do with the guys, and then take it from there. But as you know, Titi, our football is not really patient. But also it makes sense if you've stayed for how many years without a trophy. Everybody will have that edge. So every game, I think, for them is a cup final. I think they have to play every game as a cup final and try to win each and every game they play. But yeah, I mean, Kaizer Chiefs is Kaizer Chiefs. They also have the crowd behind them. So when you have that, I think they could use that more, in terms of playing with confidence, because you also have the crowd behind you. And if you are 90K at FNB terminals, nobody needs to tell you what to do, because the atmosphere is just there for you to enjoy. So yeah, I mean, I always wish them luck because I support them from a young age. So, and I know Coach Nteki as a person and as a coach, that he can do a really good job, because he's very good with players, in terms of individual management as players. So yeah, I mean, I wish them all the best, but yeah, they've got work to do, and I think people should just give them time.
Work to do they do have. You speak about every game being a cup final. They have an opportunity to get into a cup final, but boy, do they have a tough task in terms of who they have to get past. Sundowns over 2 legs. I mean, based on what you have seen, because we are fortunate that in both the semi-finals and the cup competition here now, there are 2 teams already, or 4 teams that have already faced each other.
Yeah, I think they're familiar with each other, obviously, but it's always an exciting encounter between Chiefs and Sundowns. Pirates and Stellis, yes, it's a tough. Also, Pirates have a tough opposition, and Stellis is very unpredictable. We all know that. I think this season as well.
And they have a problem with Stellis.
Yeah, they do. Hey, they're problematic. And I mean,
but they can run this.
Already.
They've already lost to
Stellis, Cape Town side. And it's difficult, especially when you're playing an away game. But I think this makes it an interesting one when you consider the fact that Sundowns obviously want to win everything, but however, Chiefs are under pressure as well to win something. We spoke about as well Coach Nteki being the new man heading the team, but now the pressure that comes with winning, just winning, never mind whether it's a cup or what, they just want to win
every game.
And the past win, I think for me, we said that it's more of a breather. It's like, but now there comes Sundowns again in the cup game. So always pressure there, always pressure with teams like Chiefs. So yeah, I think, Wunzi, you know, Lebza spoke about the 90,000 there at the stadium. That's the thing about playing for teams like Chiefs. There's always, you have to have the players to take all of that. The players to take all that pressure. The players telling, or you don't have to micromanage. You know, players that can take the occasion, that can take playing in the 90,000 capacity stadium. That on its own, it's pressure. Also not coaching. Once you walk onto the pitch, I'm not coaching that because you're not gonna hear the coach. Yeah. Well, you're not gonna hear each other. So that's the caliber of players you need for teams like Chiefs. You know, just for one.
We talk about pressure. What kind of pressure is? I mean, surely Chiefs in their game are not the only team under pressure here. The Sundowns as well. I mean, this is one cup that's always been a problem for them, owing mostly to the slow start that we've spoken about. You know, is there any kind of pressure on them?
Pratiti, look, for me, I think if I'm a Chiefs or if I'm Chiefs right now, I think this is an opportunity. You know, imagine you come out beating Sundowns at the beginning of the season in a two-leg match, and you're in the final of the MTN, and that could probably start up the rest of your season. You know, so I think they should take it as an opportunity to now gain momentum, because now when you, after beating Sundowns twice or maybe drawing once or winning the whole tie, will bring so much confidence not from the village at Naturena or from the squad, but even from outside. You know, because obviously we all know, everybody says Sundowns. Yeah, it says Sundowns. We all know it says Sundowns, and why it says Sundowns. You know, there are qualities there for us to see. So I think for me, they should take it as an opportunity to just start off a season and just get on a wave that they can ride throughout the season, you know.
From a player point of view, though, would you prefer a single leg? I know it's neither here or there, since it is going to be two legs. But when you're planning, even from a player point of view, would you rather have a once-off and get the game done with, or that opportunity for a second bite at the cherry?
Honestly, everybody would like to play Sundowns once, I think.
Yeah,
no, not once as such, but I mean, to play them twice in a month, I'd say everybody wants to play them once a month. You know, but they're there.
Because it becomes that much harder to get past them over 2 legs.
Yeah, and the funny part about Sundowns and Chiefs, I don't know if you guys have noticed, Chiefs beat Sundowns in Pretoria a lot of times, and Sundowns beats Chiefs at FNB.
Away game.
Yeah. So I don't know where they're starting, and if Chiefs could win at Loftus, I think that would set them up for an unbelievable second leg at FNB, if that's the case, you know. But like I said, it's an opportunity for Chiefs to just get on a wave now, because now you're beating the best team, for me, the best team in Africa, to be quite honest, you know. And when you beat them, it brings so much confidence, you know. So they have an opportunity to do that, but obviously it's a steep hill, Pratemi. It's going to be difficult against Sundowns. But
what about the Pirates? They're the holders of this trophy. Is there a different sort of pressure on them? Bit of a up and down start when you look at their league form?
You know what? I don't want to go back 11, 12 years ago. They will always be judged on winning the league. They haven't won it in, over 10 years. And that's the monkey on their back. Pirate supporters, not only Pirate supporters, just, you know, football fans, especially here locally, will always judge Pirates on winning the league, having not won the league in a long time. So, MTN8 Cup game, it's a good thing, you know, it makes the people happy for just a moment. But I think more than anything, they want, you know, sometimes it's a team to beat. So, and Pirates is one of those teams, unfortunately, that people want, to compete with Sundowns. Sundowns, Chiefs, Pirates and Chiefs are the teams that people are watching and saying, look, here's Sundowns, and it's so shy. You know, there's always that pressure. And it's the same pressure as the Chiefs, Lebu knows, you know, when it comes to Pirates as well. But I think for the past 2-3 seasons, they've had the best players. They've had good players. They've bought good players. You know, they've had the best squad. The depth is there. It's just they haven't really lived up to their true potential. I still feel Pirates needs to win the league at least to redeem themselves. It's difficult. Sundowns, Sundowns is pretty Sundowns.
That's right, because listen, but with Sundowns, it's about consistency. You know, if you look back to even last season, that where even when Sundowns would drop points, the chasing pack would also drop points. You know, Pirates have already dropped 5 points now in the title race. So, and Sundowns haven't dropped points. So already they've been given a little bit of a head start.
Look, I think with the Sundowns part, as Temi said, look, they're quite difficult to play against, you know, and the thing with them is that once they start, if you don't stop them early now, they could go into like 20 games without losing. You know, by the time it's December, you're like, oh, Sundowns have been lost. Like last season, I think they lost in the second
They started
round.
with gear number 4.
Yeah.
They didn't even,
you know, but I remember when Peter was still there, he used to say, when we were playing them, when I was at Chiefs, he would say, look, even if you beat me, I don't win the league by beating Chiefs. You know, and that's a fact. They kill the small teams. Not small as such, but I mean, the teams that are usually the bottom half, Sundowns make sure with those. And it's usually a big score when they beat them. To know that in the second round, when you come here, this is what you're getting. You know, and they'll go and draw Pirates, they'll go and lose to Chiefs. For them, it's not a problem. They'll go and draw Cape Town City in Cape Town, or draw against Cape Town City in Pretoria. So those games are really, really difficult. But with the easy games or the easy games for them, it becomes much more simple. But you know, with this Pirate squad, Temi, I've got a feeling that when you look at it, you can see that this is a very well coached team.
Yeah.
With how they play, there's now structure. They're getting into a culture. I don't know what the coach calls it, but he probably calls it something because it's his style of play. But you can really see now there's a certain way that Pirates play, that every player is now on the same wavelength, you know.
Maybe going to Spain helped.
Yeah. Getting summer and winter maybe helped, you know. But you know, you have guys like Zex coming back from Super Sport and with this coach, and probably in the space of 2 months. And he's just looking different, I think. This Zex is different, you know. So that tells you that whoever is behind this ship is steering it in the right direction, you know. But obviously, Stellis is a problem for them. Stellis players are very fast. Temi knows because he was fast, how difficult it would be to stop him, you know. But they're very good, more especially in Cape Town. But the good thing about Stellis is that they are young and free. They don't have anything to lose. That's what makes them, I think, dangerous to all the teams. You know, the boys just go and enjoy themselves. And you can see that these boys are just learning. I mean, if you look at a player like Jaden Adams, it's only now that people realize that this kid is a baller. You know, I saw him when I was still at Cape Town City. He was around about 17 or 16. And I was like, they called him Iniesta, I think. And I was like, there's an Iniesta in this
that's
team.
A big name.
That is so quiet. You know, he's so quiet, but he's always playing, this kid. He's in the games every time, but nobody talks about this kid. You know, so they have players like that. You see what they've done with Dupree. I mean, they can produce good players. And they're going to give Pirates a run for their money, but I think Pirates will top this one. It's a matter of who's Pirates facing in the final, I think.
Isn't that the question? How important is the depth going to be this season? I mean, I've already spoken about the number of games that Pirates, Sundowns have had to play early on here in the first month of the season. That depth in squad is going to be really tested. Do you think, from what you've seen, is it there from a Pirates point of view? And even from a Chiefs point of view, because now there's the additional cup that they're going to have to play.
Yeah. Actually, for that reason, it will be depth is key. Depth is key, and for especially for Pirates, because they're now competing in the Continental stage, as well as Sundowns. Of course, Sundowns know how to do that. They've been doing it, and maybe that also helps them in terms of acquiring their players, the players they want. You know, they compete domestically, they compete Continental. So I think with those teams that we mentioned, TT Pirates, your Sundowns, you know, Chiefs, are always competing in that Continental. So you cannot go there and expect to run, you know, the whole season competing in all competitions with the same crop of players. I mean, you have to have at least 3 players in one position. Competition is key as well, because it raises the standard of the club. Sundowns are performing the way they're performing because of that competition, not because there's too many players. No, if you can notice, players are given a chance. Players are given a chance. It's healthy competition, and it raises the standard of the game. The standard of football goes up. It's good for our football, not only for just the team, but for our football. Competition is good. So I think with Pirates as well, they do have that. However, it's now winning. making that combination work for the club. And Lebza mentioned now this season with the coach, he's beginning to find his feet with the club as well. Now the momentum is beginning to show.
From what pressure does it put on a coach then? Because it's well and good as well having a big squad. In terms of managing that squad, what kind of pressure does that give to Jose Rovero, who showed towards the end of last season that he also likes to play with a settled team? He didn't change much, and because he was getting results, he ended up ending the season finishing second and winning a cup.
Yeah, look, it must be a Spanish thing because I think Pep doesn't like to sub also. But yeah, like look, Titi, at the end of the day, football is about momentum. Once you get momentum, it's difficult now to change one person because the whole momentum could be out, But depth is important. But for me, the most important thing is what kind of depth do you have? When you look at Sundowns, they have depth and they have quality. That depth can be another PSL team competing in the top 5, if I'm quite honest, with the 15 players that maybe are not in the starting lineup right now, There's players at Sundowns that you haven't seen in a while. Lebogang is still there, quality player, he hasn't played. Bongs is coming back slowly. When he's on top of this game, he's untouchable, one of the best in the country. And you got Mukwena, who's the best in the country at the moment. So you see, with Sundowns, you can see the depth, but also it's about how you manage it, like you said, to manage that your players that don't really play much. How do you get them now to be ready when it's time to get in? I don't think that's the coach's job. I think as a player, you must be ready anytime. So at the end of the day, football, there will be rotation. And if you sit now and whine and say, I'm not in the 18, I'm not in white, by the time you come, you're not ready. It's going to be worse now. You won't be in the bench, you're going to be in the stands. But these kind of things in football, you have to understand that they happen and you must be ready all the time, And I think Chiefs and Pirates have the depth. But now, what do these players who are not playing want also? What do they want for themselves? That's the most important thing, because the coach can try and motivate players, have player management at the highest level, but you find this guy's pissed off. I'm pissed off that me and Temi share the right wing and he's playing and I'm not. I'm now kicking him at training. I'm now whining at training. And then by the time Temi probably...
So that's a thing, man.
It's football, it happens, yeah. It happens. People get angry for not being in the 18, But you have to understand these things happen. And like Temi said, football is about momentum. And if the guys are doing well, I think it works more for the club if the guys that are not playing are also doing well. Because these guys, remember, there's suspensions, there's injuries, there's all sorts of stuff. Family, you can have problems at home and not be able to play, for time duration, I don't know how many. But yeah, I think Chiefs and Pirates have the depth. You've got your super sports that will always disturb at any given time, You
cannot forget.
Last season they went up until it was the last 4 games where they said, now we're not going for the league anymore. But they were there. I don't know why they never thought of really challenging. But yeah, you got those teams, you got Cape Town City that will give you problems. So squad depth for me is more importantly is what do the guys that do not play want out of it, And if you get that right with the guys that don't play and put them into a group with the ones that are playing, it makes it easier. And if you look at Pirates, Temi, you got your guys like Vincent Pule. These are not small players. I think Ben is still there, right? Your Ben Mutswari, Miguel, I think he's been injured or not playing also. These are season campaigners, So Pirates are another team that you can get 10 players that could start in any PSL team, And Chiefs still has also players that haven't played. Your Mashianis, your Mshini, they haven't really gotten out of their shells. I don't know how and what the problem is. But if you can get these kind of players now, because these are players that can really play with momentum. You're happy. You remember when Happy came in, he was very good with the crowd. Everybody loved him. He enjoyed. Now you need to get those players to now fall in love with the game again, I think,
You mentioned Mushini. Like a player like him, what has happened? Under Gavin Hunt, I think he was given a lot of responsibility because Chiefs also couldn't sign players. He was the key cog in that team. That was a breakout season for him. But last season, obviously there was injury issues as well. But he seems to have gone backwards now. He's not
I don't know. That's why I said I don't know how and why he hasn't been really as good as I've seen him play. I think he was one of the best kids I've seen come to the first team. And he's shown, And for me, Temi, to be quite honest, a player like Mshini is a player I build a team around. Because he's so good, he's so smart. But he needs people around him that will help him. You see how Sundowns works with Temba. You know, when you look at Sundowns, you see Temba, and then you see all the players around Temba. Everything goes around Temba. You know, and if you get a player like Mshini, whom I think could reach those levels, I think don't give him 2 games and take him out. You know, he's a confident player and he's very shy. He's a shy boy. And players like that don't have personality to be taken out in 2 games and be put in 3 games. And then he comes in, he plays bad, you take him out, and then the next game he's on the stands, next game he's on the bench. Next thing now he's injured. We don't know how he got injured, but he wasn't playing. From how I know him personally, these kind of things, you know, and he's gone through some difficulties through the years with his family. For me, a player like that, Temi, I would build a team around him and your Keegans. These are players that can really take momentum from any energy. You know, they are very good when they have people around them that understand them. And yeah, I mean, if they can do that with him, with your Potsanis that are there now, your who's the midfielder that came from Skukune? Mart is there. Castillo is a very good player. So imagine if you get Mshini on top of his game with that Castillo. There's a certain thing that could happen there. Why not try it out for 5 games? You know, not put Mshini once and then take him out for 2 games, and then now it's changed. You find Potsani on the left. He's trying to gain momentum. He's new. Next thing is on the right. Modi is back. You know, sometimes I think just give one lineup 10 games.
And speaking of that, individual players' mentality, let's talk about Lebza touched on Nzek Slepasa and how different the man who's come back from Supersport is now. I mean, I think right now he's at the peak, you know, he's brimming with confidence. He's already scored more goals than he scored at any other season. You know, his total for a full season. What have you seen that's different from him? I mean, this is a guy who, you know, when he really wanted the move to Supersport because he wanted to play. And I don't think he was particularly overly excited. I know he's spoken much about, you know, thanking the chairman for backing him and all of that. But I felt like he maybe wasn't backing himself, that if he goes back to Pirates, he'd be able to break into the side and you know, play with such regularity now.
Interesting question about him because, he's the you know, player that's much talked about lately from Pirates. Okay, becoming a different player since coming back from Supersport and the national team, a good asset for
Hugo Bruce likes him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, again, I look at him. I don't know him personally, but I've been following his football, and I see that he does his extra work as well. You know, outside of just the team's training, which is a good thing. I could see that he's hungry. The attitude is right. So I'm not surprised that his way is. The attitude is right as well. So that counts a lot from a player. And, you know, he's not just sulking and then hoping that he's recognized because of what he can do. No, you have to do something. And he was doing that. He was doing a lot behind the scenes. Another thing is, I think he's a winner at heart. He wants to win. However, I think it got to a state when he was at Pirates, it got too personal for him. Trying to prove a lot, to prove that he can do it. And, you know, that can be counter-effective for you as a player. And, you know, sometimes you need a different environment. So it was a good thing that as a player, sometimes you need to get out of certain, I've been there. Super, I didn't do well. I had to move out, you know. Anyway, so he moves out of that environment, goes into a different one where now, suddenly it boosts his confidence. It provides a fresh air for players. Need that sometimes. You need to feel like you belong, and you need to feel, coach, boy, you know what? You can do this. You've got this quality. You don't even see it. That does something to a player. That's player management, and I think he got that from Supersport. You know, that sparked, ignited. Yeah. So he comes back a different player. Players need to go through change sometimes, just a change of environment. You know, it might not work what you have at that moment where you are. No problem. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. So I think that helped him. That was a blessing in disguise.
To add on what Temi said about Zakes, the extra work, I think that boy has always been an honest player. Even from afar, you can see that he really wants it. You know, but there's one thing that players nowadays don't realize, you know, and I saw this very earlier when I used to watch Temi play, is that as a player you must know what you're good at. I used to say when I was at Ajax, when I came from Alex to Ajax, I was the best in Alex. And then I got to Ajax, I was sharing a position with Tulani Siraj. When I got there, I realized that, you know what, I haven't been doing anything. This is the guy, you know. And I learned from Tulani. He was my teammate, but I would watch Tulani. Even after the games, I'd watch what he did as a 10 and what he did this and that. Most of the things that he did right. And I would learn through him as my teammate. He didn't know that up until I told him recently. And I said, you know, you made me a better player because even though you put me on the bench, I wasn't just sitting, I was watching it. And then I realized, you know, as time went on, that in football, there is going to be players that need to work hard. And there's going to be players like your Messi and your Neymar. Now, if you are this player that needs to work hard and you try to be your Messi and Neymar, it becomes like Pratemi said, too much. You now try too much. And I think Zakes tried too much for a lot of times. And he was being honest. I don't blame him because he likes to work, you can see. And now I think he's just reaping the rewards from all the work that he's done. Yeah. And then to add on the Champions League, I think from my run with Chiefs and a bit with SuperSport, what I saw is if you don't lose your away games, you stand more chance of going far. So you win your home games, and when you get away, just don't lose. Even if you don't win, you know, but just try to get a draw away. Because it's much more difficult to play them there than when they come to SA. I remember when we beat Simba 4-0 here. Yeah. When they were coming, I didn't know Simba. I hadn't seen Simba play. And when I watched the clips, I was like, damn, we're in it. Who are these guys? Because they were flying. And then they came to FNB, and we totally outplayed them, you know. Then fast forward a week later, we're in Tanzania. Now these guys are Barcelona. It's a changed team. It's a changed team, you know. Boom, we are 3-0 down. Now the tie is 4-3. I'm like, when do they transform these guys, you know? From what we were lucky that we won 4. But like I said, I think just don't lose away and try to win all your home games, and you'll go far in this tournament. And also, just try what many teams don't do is remove the fear from the respect. You know, they will respect your Al Ahly, your Wydad, your Simba. Respect them, but don't fear these guys because they are human. When you play against these guys, you realize, no, man, we can actually play against these guys, you know. So it's just that, but also it's a journey that you must enjoy and not complain too much, you know, because the traveling is quite hectic, and if you're not strong mentally, it's going to be difficult to land on Monday and play on Wednesday, and then have to fly on Thursday to somewhere else. It's not easy. You don't see your family.
And that's going to be big because we've got an Africa Cup of Nations coming up. You want your best players in the country to be competing in those competitions because that helps Bafana. Yeah.
No, 100%. I think again it raises the standard. You look. That's why, for a good example, that's why you have more players in the national team Sundowns, because they compete in you know, at that level. They know the stages. They know the pressure that comes with it. They know the level as well. They understand it. They've done it. They've played. So they play there regularly. So imagine now if we have that with you know, more teams in our league. I think it will help us a lot. So yes, we need to compete there often. You have your Barcelonas. You have your Man Cities, you have, you know, these teams are always there, regularly, without fail. So Lina, I think we need to have our local, you know, South African teams competing on the continental stage more
regularly.
Yeah, I think when you have 2, it's much better because you look at the teams from the North Africa. When you get to the quarterfinals, they have like 3 participants. So that means they are guaranteed to be somewhere in the semis or the finals already. You know, so I think it's much better when you have, more especially a Pirates that is confident and playing the way they play right now. And I saw they went away in the weekend and they won 3-0. I think in Africa. This shows the kind of magnitude the Pirates team is at this moment, you know. So I think it's good that they go and help Sundowns because Sundowns needs the help from another SA team. It's always Sundowns against Africa, you know, and you cannot blame them. Of course, we want them to win, and I think with the kind of money they spent on players, you have to win. It's everywhere in the world, you know, but it becomes difficult for them if it's one team. I think with Pirates now having both of them in both the groups will help us, you know, and I think they can both top the groups. It is very possible to do that, you know, because football, I think there's only one football and we just have to share it, you know. So yeah, I think they have a chance, but it's going to take a lot to get there.
It's going to take a lot, and as we've said, it is going to be a challenging season, but it is exciting things to look forward to, though, isn't it? I want to thank the guys here. Terminator, thank you so much, and Libza, thanks for coming in as well, and all the best with what you are up to. I know you are keeping it all under wraps. We want to hear more about it soon. But yeah, thanks, guys. Great hearing your insights.
No, thanks for having us, Brad. Nice seeing you, Brad.
And absolutely, we're looking forward to your company for the next Vodacom Diski Chats when we run the rule through this game that we love so much and see what lies in store. And there's always going to be plenty to talk about. As I said, the games are coming thick and fast. So see you soon on the next Vodacom Diski Chats.